Can someone making net $14,000 a month afford a $8,000 mortgage $1.25 million house? $8,000 includes taxes and insurance, leaving about $6K to pay for everything else. I am in this pickle in Southern California. Have a home I really want to buy, but after including taxes and insurance at 7% interest rate, I am looking at $8,000 in mortgage, no other debt besides $1,000 total in 2 car payments which I will pay off soon. X200B. PS not in tech. I'm in recession resilient industry. PS out of state PPA. This is a starter 3-2 home in California, it's not some mansion. Current monthly expenses not including mortgage $2,400. This includes childcare. Theoretically I will have a $10,400 per month fixed expenses. $3,600 left over for food and all else. Wife does not work but can and will next year. I know these basics. I am hoping to hear someone who has done this and how they are managing currently. Can you afford the house for at least a year if you lost your job? This is the real barometer. Yes, you could still afford a nice car and any expenses of $6,000 a month. You could still afford a social life. Some people will say no, you can't spend over 33, but when you make that much it is truly negligible. Especially if it's near a beach, it will only appreciate. We're also in SoCal. My job is also pretty recession resistant. Our debt service is about 60 of my pay, we don't feel very pinched toe. 23-25K per month. 10K mortgage pity for next 5 years, 4.5K student loans, damn it Supreme Court. Lol. We don't go crazy with the remaining 10K and manage to save 3-7K a month. Parcel out big purchases, have a healthy nest egg. Don't see why you couldn't make it work with 6K to spare a month. I guess don't send your kids to private school? Seems like someone forgot that we are humans and Murphy's Law is in effect at all times for us. I make about 200K net a year and I'm comfy at 5,500-ish a month. We make more than that and our mortgage is nowhere near that. I could not imagine 8K a month. That's suffocating. Your life will revolve around paying for that house. I wouldn't do it. We also don't have kids and no other debt other than one car loan. We are at 25 for housing expenses and it creates a lot less stress. I think 8K in a payment is a lot. My husband and I take home a little over 15K a month and our mortgage taxes, homeowners insurance is $4,800. If we didn't have kids, we'd be fine with more of a mortgage. But childcare is finally around 3K a month for us, so if you factor in kids, or house expenses that could go wrong, etc., things can get really tight. We went from an around 2K mortgage to our current payment, and even though we could handle it no issue, it definitely changed things. Seems like you can choose the house or being able to retire, but not both. Why are you paying for childcare if your wife doesn't work? I live on the West Coast. Our monthly take-home is $16K and our mortgage is $5,600,000. We have no car loans or student loans. I wouldn't say it's tight, but if you have kids it definitely goes really quickly. Especially if you take vacations or pay for private school. I truly think keeping your mortgage at a 1.3 of take-home is much safer than more than 1.2. Unless you have like 100K in the bank as a safety net. Are you maxing out your 401K? Do you have children? Do you have a good emergency fund set up? I've lived in Southern CA. Crazy expensive and 6K goes fast. If you want to own in SoCal right now, that's pretty much the deal. Higher of your income going towards your mortgage compared to a lot of other places in the country. You should be fine, just make a budget you are comfortable with and stick to it. If you're unable to calculate this yourself, then the answer is no. If you have no kids, I would say it's manageable. With kids, no way emo based on similar financial situation, but having 2 kids. Lol, daycare is a bitch. I would not recommend it. I'm not comfortable spending more than 30 of take-home pay on mortgage. We were strongly on the fence about an $8,500 mortgage with take-home pay of $28,000 and ultimately decided to buy something cheaper. Mortgage is $6,000. Good luck. But we do have to budget for childcare for one kid and private school. And we are trying to do fat fire. Yeah, you can. The question is more personal and a risk issue. Is there a significant other with a high-paying job, or is it just you? Any kids or dependents? Do you work in a high boom-bust sector like sales or tech? Do you have a large pool of savings and investments to dip into? The issue is if you lose your job, you're in trouble. $8K a month means you need to float $100K as emergency fund. You may not be getting the same salary levels you were before. House poor sounds miserable. No kids? Yes. So $5,000 after all loan payments. That's more than a lot of people make a month before taxes and any expenses. Yes, you'll have a very cushy life on that. Some great answers here, and the consensus seems to be that you can afford it. I think the biggest determining factor here is how stable is your job income. Some high-paying jobs like the industry I was in are positions that are quickly laid off. If it's stable for the long run, and given the home prices in CA which will logically and most likely increase, you're probably good to go. What would you do if you were without income for 6 months? Or if there were major urgent expenses? You're basically electing to be house poor and opening the door wide for Uncle Murphy. More than 60 of your income is going towards a mortgage? And people are saying that's okay? Okay, if your job is recession-proof, why not move somewhere else? Get a much nicer house instead of A32. Make the same amount of money with less overhead and invest in Ohio, Indiana. Houses there are like a buck and change. No job is recession-proof. I have a dentist friend who had to short his $1 million home cause his practice wasn't making enough. And that's he owns the building of his practice. And his wife work as a receptionist. So, I just did something similar. We bought and with current rates have a $7,000 a month mortgage and $16,000 combined take-home after taxes and $401K contributions. Other bills including childcare are about $3,500 a month. After groceries and other general spending we still have a little extra each month. We have had to curtail some frivolous shopping and going out, but if that's cool I think you can make it work. I think it all depends on the lifestyle you want to live and all the extra taxes, unexpected emergencies, etc. We net around $17,000 and only comfortable with our $4,500 mortgage. Slightly conservative but are comfortably able to pay for everything else. As life happens, we hope to have some extra money in the bank to accommodate. I'd suggest doing a serious deep dive into your expenses of everything possible before you make this leap. Good luck. Op sounds like a nice house. Personally I wouldn't do it. My income is higher and I wouldn't be comfortable with anywhere near that payment. I take into consideration things like burn rate and if something were to happen to my income for 6-12 months. Just not a position I would ever want to be caught in personally. Best of luck with your decision. We're making $11,000 net in a whole area with $3,500 mortgage. And it's still tight. Owning a home is so much more expensive than I realized. I have to imagine folks saying it's crazy you can't make do with $6,000 left over. Don't know what it's like to live in a whole area. Literally everything is more expensive here, and services especially keep going up and up. Anytime I Google what a service should cost, it's inexplicably double the high end. And God forbid you need daycare, now or down the road. It's like $2.3K per kid. Just to clarify, does net income mean gross income minus taxes? Fuck no. We make $16K a month and have a $3K mortgage. How expensive is homeowners insurance? How much are taxes? What about repairs, maintenance and utilities? To me, the big future unknown is home insurance. I think you'd find that things are tighter than you'd like them to be.